I'm going to approach this like a creator who just watched a green fireball rip through dawn skies and turned it into a story you can't look away from. Here's a fresh, commentary-driven script that feels like a new video inspired by the topic, not a recap or rewrite of the source material. The minute you think you've seen it all, a green meteor streaks across the pre-dawn heavens and suddenly you're reminded, the sky still has a few blockbuster moments left. Personally, I think that color isn't an accident. Magnesium lighting up blue-green isn't just pretty, it's a tiny science lesson wearing meteor physics on its sleeve. What makes this really interesting is how color can tell us what the rock was made of, and how atmospheric entry turns space debris into a public spectacle. In my opinion, moments like this bridge science and everyday life in a way that makes astronomy feel personal. Look at the context. A dashcam captures the moment at 6:06 a.m. near Portland, Oregon, with the viewer watching someone else's commute unfold mid-crush of dawn. The sighting isn't just pretty, it's a data point. The Oregon Museum of Science and Industry notes that fireballs can be seen up to about 80 miles high. That's not a spark in a dark room, that's a mile-high, celestial flare crossing paths with thousands of human perspectives in near real time. If you take a step back and think about it, this is the internet era's meteor shower, millions of tiny cameras turning every quiet morning into a potential window into space. First big idea, the color tells a chemical story. Green isn't random. Magnesium burns with a blue-green glow when heated in the atmosphere, and nickel can also tint the light. So this isn't just a pretty cue, it's a chemical fingerprint. What many people don't realize is how efficiently nature can transform a space rock into a public performance. A rock, once traveling at orbital speeds, becomes a light show in the air, a reminder that the cosmos still has raw power open to anyone with a camera and a curiosity about the sky. This raises a deeper question: how often do we miss the makeup of these meteors simply because we're not looking for the right color cues? Second big idea, brightness plus altitude amplifies impact. The fireball's glow and its high altitude combine to maximize visibility, wide audience, one dramatic moment, almost cinematic in scope. From my perspective, the meteor isn't just a meteor, it's a social event. People sharing clips, speculating about trajectory, survivors of the boom in Ohio and Texas later in the week, these events catalyze a community around rare sky phenomena. A detail I find fascinating is how the same event can spawn different narratives. Some watch for potential meteorites, others for the meteor shower-like communal thrill, and a few obsess over the physics of atmospheric breakup. Third big idea, survival bias in reporting. The museum notes most fireballs don't survive intact, and even when they do, finding a cratered rock out in the wild is like finding a needle in a haystack, unless it lands on a roof or a street. This matters because it reframes what discovery looks like. In the era of doorbell cameras and dashcams, the opportunity to reconstruct the event, direction, velocity, possible debris paths, exists, but it's a puzzle that requires multiple reports and, ideally, physical evidence. What this implies is that science communication now leans on crowdsourced data as a complement to professional tracking networks. People underestimate how powerful a distributed eye can be for piecing together a cosmic event. Fourth big idea, democratized observation changes the narrative. Jenkins mentions his dashcam was meant for accidents, but now it doubles as a fragmentary meteorology tool. The convergence of personal devices and citizen science means more near real-time data, more anecdotes, and more questions about what happened. From my view, this democratization is a trend worth watching. It pushes institutions to be more transparent, to share forecasts and sighting maps, and to engage the public in space awareness as a shared responsibility rather than a distant, laboratory-driven hobby. Deeper insight, what this reveals about public fascination with space. The fireball isn't just a scientific event, it's a cultural moment. People feel a jolt of wonder, then start cataloging why it matters, whether it's the potential for meteorite pieces to land nearby, or simply the reminder that the solar system is alive and unpredictable. What this suggests is that space phenomena increasingly function as social glue. They spark conversations about our place in the cosmos, sharpen curiosity in science education, and even influence how we think about technology, every dashboard cam becomes a potential witness, every smartphone a science camera. Closing thought, in the grand arc of astronomy, these green fireballs are small but meaningful. They remind us that the universe isn't a distant abstraction, it's something that can intersect our daily routines at any moment. If you've got a camera in your car or a doorbell perched on your front porch, you're not just capturing video, you're contributing to a larger mosaic of cosmic observation. A final reflection, what do you think will be the next everyday device to turn a cosmic event into a shared story? Would you react with awe, curiosity, or a flurry of questions about the physics behind the glow? If you enjoyed this breakdown, hit like and subscribe for more creator-style dives into real-world science moments. Drop your questions or theories in the comments. Where do you think the next sky show will land, and what color do you think it will be? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.